Hello everyone, I welcome you to my YouTube channel Professor Civil Mandal. Here I speak about civil engineering and you will find my various video lectures on various topics of civil engineering over here. In this chapter, this is flow measurement and this is an application of fluid dynamics which we studied in the last two videos. So you must first be thorough with the fluid dynamics part and then proceed for the flow measurement. So please, if you have not watched the videos, so please watch the videos related to fluid dynamics. So in flow measurement, this is a basic application of fluid dynamics, and here we will basically read about devices which are used for flow measurement like orifice, mouthpiece, notch and weirs. So this is first we read about orifice. An orifice is a small opening of any cross section, circular or rectangular, on the side or at the bottom of a tank containing fluid through which the fluid may be discharged. So orifice is just a small opening of any cross section which may be circular or rectangular, and it is kept at the side or bottom of a tank or a vessel containing fluid through which the fluid may be discharged. So here's a diagram given for a fully submerged orifice. Here is the orifice and here the fluid is getting discharged from this vessel or this part of the vessel which has fluid level at a higher level. So you might be thinking that we read about orifice meter in the previous chapter and now we are reading about orifice. So I want to just show you the difference of the basic definition. So in orifice meter, this is a figure of the orifice meter. So you can clearly note the difference that orifice meter is defined as a device which is used for measuring the rate of flow of fluid through a pipe, but an orifice is an orifice is just a small opening or a cross section on the side or bottom of the tank containing fluid which through which the fluid may be discharged. So one difference you can see that the orifice can be used for the flow regulation, whereas orifice meter is used for the flow measurement. Now an orifice, there's one more difference, that the orifice meter is in a particular cylinder like this which contains a throat and various parts, whereas orifice is just a small opening. Orifice meter is the device that you use to measure the flow rate, but orifice is just a small opening which controls the flow rate. So let us derive something related to the orifice. So now I have made two diagrams. One is showing fully submerged orifice and another is showing a partially submerged orifice. Why this is fully submerged? Because the whole of the orifice is submerged both in upstream and downstream side. But whereas in partially submerged orifice, in the upstream side though the orifice is fully submerged, but in the downstream side the orifice is partially submerged. So I will say that this is a partially submerged orifice and this is fully submerged orifice. This is the upstream and this is the downstream side, and this is a particular vessel, and water is made to flow from higher level to the lower level. So just consider this one, that fully submerged orifice. Here I have made 1 and 2 for upstream and downstream. Means the point 1 is in the upstream side and point 2 is suppose in the downstream side. So H1 is the height of the water above the top of the orifice. So this is the top part of the orifice, this is the bottom part of the orifice. From the top to the surface, this is the height of the water from the top of the orifice on the upstream side, and H2 is the height of the water above the bottom of the orifice. So this is the bottom of the orifice and this is the height of the water that is available above the bottom of the orifice, and H is the difference in water level. H you can call that it is the difference in water level, and B is the, suppose the width of the orifice, suppose B is the width of orifice, and let's take that CD is the coefficient of discharge. So I can say that height of the water above the center of orifice, height of water above the center of orifice on upstream side is equal to height of the water above the center of the orifice on the upstream side is equal to H1. This height is H1, and also suppose this is the center line of the orifice, and this one is the height from the above, and also the half part of the orifice will be taken by H2 minus H1 by 2. So see, I can say that H2 minus H1 is the height or the diameter of the orifice, and H2 minus H1 by 2 is this much, that is the remaining part, that is the half of the orifice, and this half of the orifice and the water level above the top part of the orifice together they constitute the height of the water above the center of orifice on upstream side. So it will be H1 plus H2 minus H1 by 2. You yourself see it and try to clarify it, that H1 is this much, and this small length is given by H2 minus H1 divided by 2, because H2 minus H1 is the height of the orifice or the dia of the orifice. So on simplifying this one, H1 and minus H1 will get cancelled. Sorry, H2 no, sorry, it will be H1 plus H2 by 2. One half of H1 will get cancelled. It will be H1 plus H2 by 2. And this is the height of the water above the center of orifice on upstream side. Similarly, height of water above the center of orifice on downstream side. So now let's check the downstream side. The height of the water, so above the height of the water above the center line will be this much, and you can say that this is the difference of what we got in the upstream side and this much height, that is, it is the difference of this total height and this height, and therefore I will get this one. Or you can say that if I from this height I subtract this height, I will get this height, that is the height of water above the center of orifice on downstream side, and that is equal to H1 plus H2 minus H1 by 2 minus capital H, and it will be simplified as H1 plus H2 by 2 minus capital H, and let's just keep it like this. Now let's apply the Bernoulli's equation in section 1 and section 2. So it will be like P1 upon rho g plus V1 square upon 2g is equal to P2 upon rho g plus V2 square upon 2g, considering that Z1 is equal to Z2 because both 1 and 2 are considered to be at the same height. So Z1 will be equal to Z2. And now P1 plus rho g, this head can be obtained by P1 plus rho g, that is the pressure head, and this pressure head is all due to the water available above this point. The pressure head that will come is all due to the water available above this point, and this one is that water which we got as H1 plus H2 by 2, that is the height of water above the center of orifice. So P1 plus rho g, that is the pressure head on section 1, can be equal to H1 plus H2. It's not can be, it is actually equal to H1 plus H2 by 2. Similarly, the pressure head on the downstream side at section 2, that is equal to H1 plus H2 by 2 minus H, that is this height above the center. And also let us consider that V1 is negligible because I don't think that there will be any flow here. All the flow that will be observed over here, because this one is at a higher level and this one is at a lower level. So you know, water where you have a higher level, it will flow towards the downward level, flow towards that side where the water level is at a downward level. So I will say that you can observe flow over here, but you won't observe any flow over here. It's obvious because if you keep just consider that this is a bucket and this was half empty and this was full empty, the water will be going this side. Of course you will not get any flow over here, you will get all the flow over here. So V1 will be negligible, that is equal to 0, and V2 will have some significance. So I will write that in this equation I will be writing as H1 plus H2 by 2 plus 0 is equal to H1 plus H2 by 2 minus H plus V2 square by 2g. So I can cancel the terms H1 plus H2 by 2, and it will be like H is equal to V2 square upon 2g, and V2 therefore will be equal to square root of 2gh. Now therefore the area will be, if this is the velocity, area of the orifice is, area of orifice will be, see, suppose H2 minus H1 is the height, H2 minus H1 is the height. Orifice height can be obtained by H2 minus H1. This is H2 and this is H1, and this much will be the height of the orifice. So H2 minus H1 is the height of the orifice, and B, we said that B is the width of the orifice. So let us just consider that it is a rectangular section, and because rectangle has an area larger than circle, so if I consider it as a rectangular, I can consider that it is quite almost similar to the circle. And now both this orifice is a very small opening, so there will be very negligible difference between that area of that particular circle or the square. So let's just consider it to be square, and it won't bother us about the shape. Therefore B into H2 minus H1 is the area of the orifice. So on obtaining the area of the orifice, I can say discharge Q will be equal to area times velocity, and that is B times H2 minus H1 times root 2 GH. And let us introduce the coefficient of discharge CD, and therefore on simplifying this one, I can say that Q is equal to CD, and this is okay. Let's just keep it like this. This is the equation of flow through an orifice. So similarly, partially submerged orifice is the one which has its outlet side partially submerged under liquid. The outlet side is partially submerged under liquid, and therefore partially submerged orifice will have two portions, that is the upper portion and the lower portion. Upper portion of the partially submerged orifice will behave like an orifice discharging freely, and lower portion of the partially submerged orifice will behave like a submerged orifice. So you can see that the upper portion is like a partially submerged orifice, like an orifice discharging freely, and the lower portion of the orifice is like a fully submerged orifice. Means if you consider that this is the orifice, water is flowing like this, so the lower portion is just like a fully submerged orifice, and the upper portion is just a freely discharging orifice. So now the diagram is over here. We must note it that only a large orifice will behave like a partially submerged orifice. Only large orifice can behave this one, and partially submerged orifice is also called as partially drowned orifice. All these points are given in the notes. You can just go through it. The link will be given in the description. Now the total discharge of the partially submerged orifice, total discharge, and it is for partially submerged orifice, will be equal to discharge through the free portion plus the discharge through the submerged portion or the fully submerged portion. So now, as you can, we have already discussed the part where we got a discharge for the fully submerged orifice. So let us consider that discharge sub is equal to Q1, suppose, and it is equal to CD times B times H2 minus H1 times root 2 GH. This is the discharge through the submerged part of the orifice. Now also that the large orifice discharge through the large orifice, the discharge through the free portion of the orifice will be equivalent to the discharge through the large orifice. So we can say that the discharge through the free part is equal to Q2, and this is equal to 2 by 3 times CD times B times root 2G times H times 3 to the power 2 minus H1 to the power 3 by 2. So this is the discharge through a large or a free orifice, or you can say this is a discharge through large orifice. So, and this derivation can be available over internet, you can check. So I am not deriving for a large discharge through the large orifice. So its derivation is available on the internet, you can check through it. And if you just don't want to check to it, just remember this is the formula for the free discharging orifice or a large orifice. Therefore it is Q2 is equal to 2 by 3 times CD times B times root 2G times H to the power 3 by 2 minus H1 to the power 3 by 2. So therefore the total discharge Q will be equal to Q1 plus Q2, and that is equal to CD times B times H2 minus H1 times root 2GH plus 2 by 3 times CD times B times root 2G times H to the power 3 by 2 minus H1 to the power 3 by 2 minus sign, and it is equal to, on simplifying you can say that it is equal to, so just let's not simplify and let's keep it here like this, and we will say that this is the discharge through a partially submerged orifice. So this was the equation which we derived for the partially submerged orifice. So let's just look on to some terms related to this orifice. That is, the first is the coefficient of velocity. It is defined as the ratio between the actual velocity of jet at vena contracta and the theoretical velocity of the jet. So vena contracta, you know, the part where the orifice almost converges, and it is defined as the ratio at the actual velocity of the jet at vena contracta and the theoretical velocity of the jet. So you can say simply that it is the ratio of the actual and theoretical velocity. It is obtained by CV is equal to V upon VTH, and that is further equal to V upon root 2 GH. Coefficient of contraction, it is defined as a ratio between the area of jet at vena contracta and the area of the orifice. So it is, and its value varies from 0.61 to 0.69. And one more thing, the coefficient of velocity, the value varies from 0.95 to 0.99. And the coefficient of contraction, the value varies from 0.61 to 0.69, and it is defined as Cc is equal to AC upon A, where A is the area of the jet at vena contracta and the A is the area of the orifice. Next we have coefficient of discharge, which is defined as the ratio between the actual discharge issued from an orifice and the theoretical discharge, or you can simply say it is a ratio of the actual and theoretical discharge, and the value varies from 0.61 to 0.65. So we can write that Q is equal to AC times V, that is AC is the area of the vena at the vena contracta and V is the actual velocity. So upon writing the product, we can say that AC is Cc times A, because Cc is equal to AC upon A. So you can write that AC is equal to Cc times A, Cc multiplied by A, and AC is written like that, Cc multiplied by A, and similarly V is written as Cv times root 2 GH, which is obtained from this equation. That V you can write root 2 GH times Cv, and we have Q over here, and Q theoretical thus obtained will be somewhat like this, because the product of Cc and Cv will be equal to CD, and CD is equal to Cc times A times Cv times root 2 GH upon A root 2 GH, and thus you will be saying that CD is equal to Cc times Cv, and thus Q theoretical is A times root 2 GH. Now let's move on to the next flow measuring device, that is the mouthpiece. And mouthpiece is a short tube of length, and it's basically a tube. You can get it like this, and not more than 2 or 3 times its diameter, which is fitted to a circular opening or orifice of the same diameter provided in a tank or a vessel containing fluid, such that it is an extension of the orifice and through which also the fluid may be discharged. So note that it is basically an extension of the orifice, and also you will see it like this, and the mouthpiece is tube like structure, short tube, and its length is not more than 2 or 3 times its diameter, and is fitted to a circular opening or orifice of the same diameter provided in a tank or vessel containing the fluid. Here is the diagram. So let's read about the classification of the mouthpiece. According to the shape, it can be of cylindrical, convergent, divergent, and convergent divergent. So it can be either cylindrical, simply cylindrical, or it can be convergent like this, or it can be divergent like this. Also it will be a combination, it can also be a combination of the convergent and divergent like this, like a venturi meter. According to the position, it can be either external or internal, and internal mouthpiece is also defined as Boda's mouthpiece. Boda was a scientist who actually worked on this internal mouthpiece. And according to the discharge conditions, it can be running full or running free. Means the mouthpiece will be full of water, either it will be full of water or it will be running half of it. Means half of it will be free, and that is known as running free, and if it is full, it will be said as running full. And here we will discuss upon the discharge through the mouthpiece. The area at vena contracta AC is equal to Cc times the actual area, where Cc is the coefficient of contraction. We derived it over here, that this relation between Cc, AC and A, where Cc is the coefficient of contraction, A is the area of the orifice. Here we will consider that this area is equal to that of the mouthpiece, because mouthpiece is fitted with an orifice of similar diameter, and AC is the area of the vena contracta, and Cc is the coefficient of contraction. Cc is equal to 0.62, and therefore AC, you can see, it is 0.62A. So according to the continuity equation, AC Vc is equal to AV, and now Vc is the velocity at section Cc. Let's just go through the diagram. This is the section Cc. One section is made. You can say it is at the vena contracta, and therefore Vc is the velocity at that vena contracta. Therefore Vc is equal to A upon AC times V, because from here you can write Vc is equal to, you can straight away write it from here, and AC is equal to 0.62 A, and therefore this A and in both numerator and denominator will get cancelled, and we will be remaining with Vc is equal to V upon 0.62. Next, the loss of head will be obtained by Vc up minus V square upon 2G, and it is equal to 1 upon 2G times V upon 0.62 minus V square is equal to, which is further equal to, if we take V out, and we will get V square upon 2G, and it will be this term in the bracket, and on solving this we will get 0.375 times V square upon 2G. And now applying Bernoulli's equation to the free water surface and the outlet of the mouthpiece, let's apply Bernoulli's equation over here and at the outlet of the mouthpiece. In these two sections, if we apply the Bernoulli's equation, we will be remaining with H is equal to H plus H at E plus 0 is equal to 0 plus H at E plus V square upon 2G plus HL. See, now this part of the mouthpiece will be having some flow, this part won't be having any flow, so the velocity over here will be 0 and the velocity will have some significance over here. So you can see there is no velocity term over here, but we have a V square upon 2G over here. Capital H is the head of the water above, and we are also considering a head loss at the end, and also HAT is the height above the datum, suppose, and therefore both HAT will be, HAT from both the sides can be neglected or it can be cancelled. So therefore H is equal to V square upon 2G plus 0.375 V square upon 2G, which is our head loss. Writing head loss at 0.375 V square upon 2G, we thus get H is equal to 1.375 V square upon 2G, or you can write V as this equation, that is root 2 GH upon 1.375, and theoretically V is actually equal to root 2 GH. Theoretically V is equal to root 2 GH, and we obtain V as something like this. So the coefficient of velocity, that is CV equal to V actual upon V theoretical, will be obtained like this, and it will be equal to 0.855. Since the area of the jet at outlet is equal to the area of the mouthpiece at outlet, therefore CC is equal to 1. For the mouthpiece, for this mouthpiece, CD is equal to CV times CC, which is equal to 0.85 times 1. Therefore CD is equal to 0.855. So therefore the pressure head at the section CC, let HC is equal to the absolute pressure. So HC will be the absolute pressure head at section CC. Section CC, suppose HC will be the absolute pressure head, and HAT plus H is equal to HC plus V square upon 2G. Again we will apply the Bernoulli's equation to the free liquid surface in the tank in the section CC. Therefore VC will be obtained as V upon 0.62, and therefore HAT plus H is equal to HC plus 1 upon 0.62 square V square upon 2G. Finally HAT plus 1.375 V square upon 2G will be equal to H plus 2.6 V square upon 2G. It is just by substituting this in the equation. From here we will be getting this thing, and therefore HC will be equal to HAT minus 1.225 V square upon 2G equal to HAT minus 0.89 H. On simplifying we will get this. Thus we find that the pressure head at the vena contracta CC is 1.225 V square or 0.89 H less than the atmospheric pressure. As the head H over the mouthpiece is increased, the absolute pressure head HC at CC decreases. The minimum value of the absolute pressure head at CC is the separation pressure head HSEP for the HSEP for water. HSEP is equal to 2.5 meters absolute. So just note it. These derivations are basically based upon experimental observations. So you have to just by heart these equations and just try to remember this. Corresponding to these conditions, we can determine the maximum allowable head H max over the mouthpiece, and HSEP is equal to HAT minus 0.89 H max. We know what is H max, and H max is equal to HAT minus HSEP upon 0.89. Taking HAT as 10.3, and for water taking HSEP is equal to 2.5, we get H max as like this. So the actual experiments have shown that the value of CD is 0.813 while the derived value is 0.855. This is due to the frictional resistance at the entrance of the mouthpiece. With this modification, in the practical cases, HC is equal to HAT minus 0.74 H, and H max will be thus obtained as this, that is 10.54 meters. So this was all about the mouthpiece. So you just need not to worry about the derivation, because this derivation is totally based upon practical observations, and thus it is somewhat complicated like this. So one may actually by heart this if you are trying to do it theoretically, because without the availability of apparatus this is quite difficult to do, and therefore it is recommended that this derivation shall be done experimentally. A prismatic tank 3 meter long and 2 meter wide is divided by a vertical partition wall into two parts so that the area of one is twice the area of the other. So we have a prismatic tank 3 meter by 2 meter, suppose, or let us take that this is 2 meter and this is 3 meter in length, and it is divided by a partition wall. This is suppose the partition wall, and it is divided such that into two parts so that the area of one is twice the area of the other. So just let's consider that this part has area A2, the downstream side, and the upstream side has area A2, and the downstream side has area A2, and upstream side has area A1. The partition contains of a 6 cm orifice. Here it is. Let's take that small a is the area, and so with the liquid tanks are connected, the liquid levels in the tanks are always above the orifice at an instant. The liquid level in the larger tank is 2 meter, that of smaller. Find the time taken for the difference to become 1.5 meter. So suppose if it at an instant the liquid level is in the larger tank is 2 meter above that of smaller. Suppose this is at 2 meter above. So you are asked to find the time taken for the difference to become 1.5. So what will happen, basically here the water is at a higher level, it will flow on this side, and this 2 meter difference will therefore be less enough, and they are asking that the time taken from this difference to become 1.5 meter from 2 meter. So the total area of the tank is equal to the area of the smaller two tanks, the two partitions, and that is equal to 3 meter long and 2 meter wide. So therefore the cross sectional area will be 3 into 2, and that is 6 meter square. Similarly, also I will take A1 upon A2, that they are telling that this larger part is twice that of the smaller part. So it will be A1 upon A2 will be equal to 2, and therefore you can say that A1 is equal to twice of A2, and therefore if I solve this equation, that is Therefore A1, I'll write A1 as twice of A2 plus A2 is equal to 6. Therefore A2 is equal to, on solving this I will get A2 as 2 meter square and A1 as 4 meter square. So now I have got A1 and A2. Small a, that is the area of the orifice, and that will be equal to pi by 4 times the diameter is given 6 centimeter, and therefore it will be pi by 4 times 0.06 meters, and that's square, and therefore the area of the orifice will be 2.827 times 10 to the power minus 3 meter square. This is the area of the orifice. So now H1 is equal to 2 meters and H2 is equal to 1.5 meters. Suppose this is the initial height difference is 2 meter, the final height difference H2 is equal to 1.5 meter. Okay, so there's one equation for such conditions, that is T is equal to, this thing is not in the theory, just remember the formula which I am giving you now. 2A1 times root under H1 minus root under H2 and divided by CD times A times 1 plus A1 by A2 upon times root 2 G. So this is the formula for time, or this is the formula for the time difference for the change of the height, difference of height for a particular tank which is like this, fitted with an orifice, and there is a flow of water. This is the formula. This thing also has a separate derivation. So in case you require the derivation, please write in the comment section. I will be replying it to it. And also substituting these values, A1 is this part, A2 is this part, H1 and H2 are 2 meter and 1.5 meter, that is the initial and the final height differences. CD will be taken as 0.63 as given in the question, and small a is the area of the orifice, and it is equal to 2.827 times 10 to the power minus 3 meter square. And therefore on substituting the values we will get time is equal to 64 seconds. Please try to note the formula, guys, because this formula is not given in the theory. This is the time for change of height difference. Okay. So in this question, a vessel has two identical orifices A and B with identical values of CV provided on one side of its vertical depths HA and HP below the liquid surface of the tank respectively. So we are given two orifices in a vessel at different heights HA and HP, suppose, and show that the point of intersection of the two jets is HB below the orifice A and HB below the orifice. Wait, just HB below the orifice A and HA below the orifice B. Further find the distance of the point of intersection from the plane of the orifices. Take trajectory as x square equal to 4y hcv square. So we are given the trajectory of the flow through the orifice, and we are also asked to find the distance of the point of intersection from the plane of the orifices. Okay, so just let's take the trajectory, that is x square equal to 4y h cv square. Now at the point of intersection, suppose this is yb and ya, this is the point of intersection, and at the point of intersection, at point of intersection, x square is equal to x square a, which is equal to, this is suppose for x square, this is suppose for a, and x square a is equal to 4ya h a cv square, and also for b it will be xb square equal to 4 y b h b cv square. cv is same for both of them, and let us suppose that this is the x distance, that is it is same for both a and b. At a distance of x they will be meeting if we consider the x distance in the x direction, and therefore from this we can say that, let's simplify this, 4 gets cancelled, and similarly cv square also gets cancelled. So taking yb on this side and ha on this side, we can say that ya upon yb is equal to hb upon ha. Let us take this as equation 1. Now also you can see that ha plus ya is equal to hb plus yb, right? Isn't it? They are meeting at a particular point here, and hb plus yb below the top surface, and it is also equal to ha plus ya. So I can write it like this, that ha plus ya is equal to hb plus yb. Let us say, and ya minus yb is equal to hb minus ha, and let it be equation 2. So solving this equation 1 and 2, solving 1 and 2, we get ya equal to hb and yb equal to ha. Thus it is shown that, it was asked that we were asked that, so that the point of intersection of the two jets is hb below orifice a, hb below orifice a, and ha below orifice b. So ya is equal to hb, and therefore it is hb, and yb is equal to ha, and it is therefore ha below orifice b. We are also asked to find the distance of the point of intersection from the plane of the orifice, that is basically we have to find x. So here, from here I can say that x is equal to square root of 4. In place of y I will write hb, and in place of, and ha is already there, ha and cv square. So taking 2cv outside, I will get x is equal to 2cv times square root of ha hp. So in this question, a reservoir discharges through a sluice 0.915 meter wide and 1.22 meter deep. The top of the opening is 0.61 meter below the water level in the reservoir, and the downstream water level is below the bottom of the opening. and calculate the discharge through opening if CD is equal to 0.6 and the percentage error if the opening is treated as small orifice. Now you can see one thing, that an opening which has 0.9, which is 0.915 meter in width and 1.22 meter in height, is certainly not a small orifice like which we use in our labs for experimental purposes. So it should be treated as a large orifice with free discharges, for this thing which we derived in the partially submerged orifice, the derivation, we took discharges in two parts, that is Q1 and Q2. It is basically the Q2 part which we are going to solve over here, that is for a free running or free discharge orifice. So for that, the discharge is equal to Q times 2 by 3 CD times B root 2G times H2 to the power 3 by 2 minus H1 to the power 3 by 2. Now this is the reservoir, suppose, and the sluice is 0.915 meter in width and 1.22 meter depth, and also the top of the opening is 0.61 meter below the water level. So this is the water level and it is 0.61 meter, and suppose this one is 1.22 meter. So therefore we will get H2 is equal to 1.22 plus 0.61, and that is equal to 1.83 meters, and H1 is equal to 0.61 meter, CD you know 0.6 and B is 0.915. Therefore Q will be equal to 2 by 3 times 0.6 times B is 0.915 times root 2 times 9.81 multiplied by H2 is 1.83 times 3 by 2 minus H1 is 0.61 times 3 by 2, and this discharge will be coming as 3.241 meter cubes per second. Okay, next is the part B, that now if we consider that this as a small orifice, we are asked what shall be the error in this case. Suppose we are considering it as a small orifice and we are trying to get the discharge to it, and we know the discharge to the small orifice is Q CD times A times root 2 GH, and it is equal to, and area is equal to 0.915 times 1.22, and that is equal to 1.116 meter square, and H is equal to H1 plus H2 by 2, and that is equal to 0.61 plus 1.22 by 2, and that is equal to 1.22 meters. Therefore Q is equal to, CD is 0.6, area is 1.116 times root 2 G times H is 1.22 meter, and I will get Q as 3.276 meter cube per second. Therefore the percent error is equal to 3.276 minus 3.241 upon 3.241, suppose, because this is the actual discharge, times 100 is equal to 1.08%. So we get an error of 1.08%, which is actually not much large. So therefore you can say that if we really want precise results, then we can use this formula, but otherwise this formula can also give a value which is quite nearer to the actual value. So, and the percentage error is very less. So that's all for the part 1 of the video lecture regarding the flow measurements. There will be a separate part. In part 2 we will be discussing about notches and wears. Thank you. If like and share my video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you.